Hello everyone, this is Zooc, and I have a really bad f***ing cold. I've been sleeping with the air conditioning on since it's really hot here, and today I woke up with fever and a sore throat and a really bad cough. So I just want to apologize in advance for any coughing or sneezing or blowing of noses that are likely to occur. In any case, before we begin, I have a small announcement to make. Apparently now I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/zoocdoesstuff, and also a Twitter page, twitter.com/zoocdoesstuff, coincidentally. So if you'd like to follow me and find out interesting facts from my daily existence, go right ahead. And that was it for the announcement. Here we go. Now, I started off my drawing as I usually do, with the light outline, basic shapes, and all that good stuff. I had made a couple of sketches before getting to the main one, just to get my hand used to how the Overlord is like and the shape it has and its members and all that. But I found it a rather simple creature to draw because in essence it's just a hot air balloon with legs, and that's about it. The only reference I used was a picture of the actual Overlord, just to see like how many limbs it has and how many spikes it has on its back, or if it has spikes, because I wasn't exactly sure how the unit looks like. I mean, I've been playing Starcraft ever since it came out, basically, and I still don't know what these units really look like because I don't sit around and look at them in detail. But anyway, after the outline, I just get straight to detailing the carapace. I'm gonna try and do all my drawings on vellum from now on, because as a medium I like it more than paper. I'm fairly convinced now that it's more pleasant to draw on it. But the only downside to it is that, as you can see, the graphite reflects in the lamp way more. However, I did try to keep the paper at an angle as much as possible so as to not completely obscure what I was doing. Shading wise, I just go with basic carapace that I used on the baling as well, and give it a few imperfections here and there just to give it a bit of randomness. The Overlord has a collar of bumps, or skin bumps, or armor. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like a pearl necklace around its neck, and it's basically it's covered in it under its armor, like it has it around its limbs as well. And the way I draw that is I start off with the tube shading, and then I section it and try and define the individual sections with a coarse shadow following the contour. And that's basically all there is to it. Now, every time you see me go back to things I've already done, it means I've taken a break and came back and saw that there was something wrong with it. As I've mentioned in the previous video, it's very important to take breaks. Now, I did a bit of improvising on the Overlord's face. Its nose isn't exactly identical, but who the hell wants to make it identical anyway? I just tried to do it my own way and sort of stick to the original, but give it a personal touch, like I always try to do. For example, the carapace on its head didn't look so separate from the rest of the head, but I decided to make it so just to give it a more armored look. As you can see, I'm using the 4B pencil here. Well, you can't see it, but I'm telling you, because the 7B is getting close to me being done with it. It's almost over. Now, the two pincers on its face aren't there in the original. In the original, like, the actual 3D character model has a bunch of horns, I think, or it looks like horns. But I decided to turn the horns into a couple of pincers you can use to shovel whatever they eat into their mouths. Now you can see there the little bumps I was talking about that surround the main limbs. I just define each one of them in particular and then give them an overall shadow just to make them like seem unified. The Overlord also has two larger pincers on its chest, I think it is, or basically shoulders, if you can call it that. And the way I started drawing these, or the way I taught myself to draw these, was I looked at the skeleton of a human forearm. As some of you might know, it's not one bone but two, and I tried to replicate that in all insect-like limbs that I've drawn. So basically there's one shadow in the middle to separate the two bones, and then you draw whatever texture you want on top of that to give the impression of skin. Now, the way I did these two main pincers or claws, I tried to improvise them completely. Like, I didn't look at the original image much, because I just wanted to do something original by myself. And if you've ever drawn insect type armor or limbs, you should know that there's never like a completely sharp transition between the armor and the body itself. Like if you take a look at crab pincers or lobster pincers, you'll see that there's a few extra layers there between the in the joints, basically transitioning the armor from one piece to another. So what I'm saying is, don't draw it like you would a human armor, like a metal armor, where it's just one piece, then one piece, then you know, it's attached with straps and everything. This is all organic, so it has to be attached on itself and on flesh and on bone. So the transitions have to be smooth. What I liked about this this character was that it has a lot of spikes and horns, and I really like drawing those, as you might have heard me say before. They're just so easy to do, and they always look good. I tried to improvise a lot of bumps and stuff on his pincer, just to not make it symmetrical to the other one, because in the fantasy world, and sometimes even in nature, not all limbs are symmetrical. They don't have to have the same exact texture, just like, you know, you don't have the same exact hairs on your arms or moles on your hands or whatever. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a mirrored effect. It seems more natural if there are different imperfections on each limb. I'm just drawing its legs now. I didn't really know how many legs it had before. It was funny. I didn't know if it has 3 or 4 or 5. Who knows? It doesn't have to make sense in the world of Starcraft 2. But I tried to draw each limb the way I mentioned before, like make a shadow in the middle, and then define each of the separated bones, just to make it look like it has a very, very obvious texture, very deep grooves, and very a lot of bumps and a lot of indentations and all that. By the way, you might notice these little breaks in speech sometimes. It's me pausing the video to blow my nose, because snot is dripping down my face. So I try to not blow my nose in the mic, because that would be highly unpleasant. Now I'm drawing the legs in the back. I try to not go into as much detail with them as I do with the ones in the front, because the drawing seems pretty cluttered already. Like, there's a lot of overlapping limbs with the same texture. So if you look at it from a distance, you don't really know like what's in the back, what's in the front. Does it have 3 legs in its stomach? And you know, it's just confusing to the viewer. So the leg in the very back, I didn't even bother detailing it. I just made just a shadow over it on the contour, and that's it. Now for the sacs on its side, what I did here was I did a very small impression with my pencil, and then I took my blending stump and defined all the little bumps and warts and sacs it has on its sides. And this worked out way better than sitting there and detailing each and every one of them with my pencil. So just after an initial pass with the blending stump, I went in with the pencil to pretty much darken the grooves in between the bumps, as you can see there, and it made it look really nice and made it actually look almost real. I was very proud of myself for the sacs. And I made then a third pass with a blending stump just to further soften it, because as you might know, the Overlord's sides aren't very sharp and armored. They're basically air sacs. And I'm just drawing the cast shadows of the spikes, just to give it a sense of realism. I'm going to go in with my eraser after this and draw in the highlights on the spikes, because the light is supposed to be coming from the top left, so they have to show that. Now, as you can see, my little bumpy texture turned out pretty well here, and now I'm just shading in the sack on the very side. I drew in a vein there just for extra effect. The way you draw veins on in these types of drawings is you basically erase the contour with a sharp edge of the eraser, and then you shade in just the intersections, or the points where the eraser, not the eraser, what the fuck, the points where the veins branch out. Like, you should never draw the entire contour of the vein, because that's only done in comic books and it would look bad. It looks amateurish. I mean, hell, I'm an amateur, but I don't want to seem more amateur than I already am. So just erase the shape of the vein, and then just shade in like the little corners. As you can see there, I'm doing the highlights with my eraser. The pen eraser is very useful for that, but as I mentioned, I'm waiting for my electric eraser, which will be godlike in situations like this. I'm just finishing up the drawing now, doing its little tail in the back, and just the extra antennae or whatever it has, the spikes and hairs and whatnot, and that's it. It was really fun drawing it. Gave me a lot of room for improv and coming up with my own stuff. So I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.